Next up, we have Kapitel 9.3, 9.4, which is adverbs and adjectives used as nouns. So we're going to build off of what we were talking about with adjectives in the last unit and talk about adverbs a little bit as well. So let's do the exercises from the end of the last unit. So all these sentences have adjectives, and then we're just going to note what's happening with these adjectives and make sure we are translating them correctly for the gender, number, and case of the noun. So, Nummer 1, der alte braune Mantel hängt im Kleiderschrank. So, the old brown coat is hanging in the closet. So we have der alte, that's masculine nominative definite article, and it is, you can also tell that it's singular because der alte, right? Der alte braune Mantel hängt im Kleiderschrank. The old brown coat. Yeah, we have two adjectives in a row, they just take the same ending. Ich lese gerade ein interessantes Buch. So we have ein interessantes Buch. That's going to be, I'm reading an interesting book right now. And we have nominative, accusative, indefinite article. Oh, sorry, that's neuter. Neuter, accusative, indefinite article. Yeah. Nummer 3, die blauen Socken kosten 5 Euro, which is the blue socks cost 5 euros. Plural nominative with a definite article. So, this en is a nominative, and then this en will tip you off that it's plural. Also, this ending, it's plural. The blue socks. Also, it's conjugated for plural. Wir nehmen den gelben Pulli. We'll take the yellow sweater. Den gelben is then masculine accusative with definite article. Ich kaufe nur teuren Wein. This one has no article. So that's a little different from the others. I only buy expensive wine, masculine, accusative, no article. Norgant ist ein guter Freund von mir, ein guter Freund. So Norgant is a good friend of mine. Nominative, masculine, and definite article. Ein guter Freund. Katrin bekommt ein neues Auto von ihren Eltern. Katrin is getting a new car from her parents. Ein neues Auto. Nominative, accusative, indefinite article. Wir verkaufen frische Äpfel und warmes Brot. So frische Äpfel, they both have no article, but when you have no article and then that e ending, that's going to indicate either the feminine or the plural. And in this case, it's a plural, and then this one is the singular neuter. So we sell fresh apples and warm bread. Plural, no article, accusative, and then neuter, accusative, no article. Wir suchen ein kleines Haus. We are looking for a small house, and then ein kleines Haus. It's a neuter, accusative, indefinite article. And then ich sehe gern japanische Fernsehserien. I like to watch Japanese TV series, and it's no article and plural, so it's just the e. That's the plural ending. Yeah. Okay, let's try this one. Ich bin diese Woche in der neuen Wohnung einer prominenten Familie unserer Stadt. See, look at this one. Yeah, so this is the plain one, and then I did the markup on this one. So let's read first. Ich bin diese Woche in der neuen Wohnung einer prominenten Familie unserer Stadt. So let's just do this part of the sentence. So we're looking for adjectives. We go along, and then here's an adjective, neu, and you want to ask, what case is this in? It's in the dative. It's feminine with der. It's in the dative. So this is dative with definite article and feminine. And then einer prominenten Familie unserer Stadt. So this one is of a prominent family, and so this is the genitive, feminine genitive, indefinite article. Einer prominenten Familie, dort die Fenster zu streichen. So this week I'm in the apartment of a high-profile family of our city in order to paint the windows. Die Wohnung liegt direkt im Zentrum des historischen alten Teiles der Stadt im 5. Stock. eines wunderschönen alten Hauses. Lots of adjectives. Okay. Im Zentrum des historischen alten Teiles. So we say des historischen alten. So this is going to be our genitive again. Of the old historical part of the city, der Stadt. Im 5. Stock, on the 5th floor. So 5th with an adjective ending in the dative there. Im 5. Stock. Eines wunderschönen alten Hauses, of a super wonderfully beautiful old building. House can also mean building. It's either house or, in this case, since we're talking about the apartment is in the house, house actually is the apartment building, or yeah, the whole unit, right? So we have eines Hauses, that's the normal genitive, right? But if you're going to put adjectives in the middle there, it's just the en ending every time. Wunderschönen alten Hauses. Die größten Fenster der hinteren Zimmer gehen auf einen Park mit vielen schönen Bäumen. So, die großen Fenster, the large windows, so it's just the plural, nominative plural with a definite article, en right there, of the rooms in the back. How did I translate that? The large windows of the, I said in the back, yeah, the behind rooms. It's really hard to translate because you know that hinter means behind, right? So it's like the behind rooms, which I guess that's the best thing I could think of, was the rooms in the back of the apartment. The rooms that are in the back of the apartment. So gehen auf einen Park mit vielen schönen Bäumen. So this is interesting. We had our prepositions and we learned that mit is actually a dative preposition. Mit always uses dative after it. Also bei, mit, nach, seit, von, zu. So we have mit, but then, so we know we're going to do dative, but then there's no articles. What we need is our dative, no article, and plural situation. So that's en, and then a bonus n, because that's what happens in the dative plural. That n wouldn't be there on the normal plural. It would normally be Bäume, just the e, but extra n. Okay, so I translated that as the large windows of the rooms in the back overlook a park with many beautiful trees. Okay, so an einer Wand des riesigen Wohnzimmers, on a wall of the giant living room. So of the giant living room is, of course, article, then adjective, then noun. And then what's happening here? We're in the genitive of the giant living room. So it's neuter, Zimmer is neuter, genitive with a definite article, des. Hängt über der teuren Couch ein Bild des berühmten französischen Malers Renoir. So, it's hanging above the expensive couch. So, über plus dative because no movement. It's just hanging there by itself. So dative, feminine, and it has a definite article as well. So feminine dative, definite article. And then ein Bild, a picture. That's actually a subject of the sentence. And then des berühmten französischen Malers. So of the famous French painter. So des Malers, right? It's of the painter, des Malers, but then we've inserted two adjectives in here. And it's masculine and genitive, and we have definite article. So, but that's with the genitive, it's easy because they're always the en, except for if there's no article, then they have different ones. But that's very rare. Most of the time there's an article with those. Let's see. Des berühmten französischen Malers, which is masculine, genitive, and definite article. And then, ich kann fast nicht glauben, I can hardly believe it. I can almost not believe it. As in, I can hardly believe it, dass der Renoir echt ist. I can hardly believe that the Renoir is real, echt. Denn wer hat schon das Geld, ein Original dieses großen Künstlers zu kaufen. So who really has the money to buy, to kaufen? We'll do these two constructions a little bit later. Ein Original dieses großen Künstlers zu kaufen. So of this great artist. So that one is going to be dieses indicates genitive, and then Künstler is masculine, and then this is a der word, which acts like a definite article, right? So, who has the money to buy an original of this great artist? Mit dem Lohn eines kleinen Malers, wie ich bin, with the wages of a small painter like I am. What did I say? A small time, a humble painter, yeah. It's just klein meaning small, but from the context I said a humble painter, a small time painter, like I am. So it's eines kleinen Malers, of a small painter like me, like I am, kann man die Bilder der berühmten Maler normalerweise nur im Museum anschauen. Oh, here a modal verb from not too long ago. Can one only in the museum see the pictures of the famous painters? Yeah. So die Bilder der berühmten Maler. Now this is a little tricky because Maler, it's like der Maler is just the normal masculine, but to make the plural you don't add anything. So right here it's actually plural, and your clue that it's plural is that it's in the genitive. It's like the pictures of the great painters, and that's the plural genitive right there, and then that matching adjective ending. So that's the part where you really have to pay attention, because it would be very easy to translate that as singular. So the more familiar you are with adjective endings, the better you can see that that's actually singular. That's actually plural, not singular. Yeah. So der berühmten Maler is plural. So I have this, with the wages of a small-time painter like I am, one can usually only look at the pictures by the famous painters, in the plural, in a museum. Okay, so Kapitel 9.3, 9.4. So we have adverbs. Adverbs are pretty easy in German, hopefully for you, because they don't have different forms. They just have it. You may have noticed that gut means either good or well. And in English, we have this whole distinction between adjectives and adverbs, but in German, gut is both good and well, so that makes it easier. Let's look at adverbs modifying verbs. So, dieser Baustil kam ursprünglich aus Preußen und setzte sich schnell durch. So this building style came ursprünglich, aus Preußen. So the thing is, ursprünglich means either original or originally. So when you translate it, you need that adverb in English, but in German there's not a separate form for it. And then setzte sich schnell durch. Yeah, so caught on quickly, not just quick, because that would be an adjective in English. Die Architekten überprüfen regelmäßig die Baupläne. So regelmäßig can mean either regular without the ly or the ly. And it just has to do with if you're modifying the verb, then it's an adverb, not an adjective, obviously. And then we have adverbs modify adjectives. Yeah, so if you're adding it to an adjective to further describe that adjective, then it's an adverb. In einem wahrhaft alten Haus sind die Räume bedeutend kleiner als in den relativ neuen Häusern. So in each case here, in a truly old house, like how old? Truly old. How much smaller? Significantly smaller. How new? Relatively new. So you see how each of these adverbs is then describing that adjective further. Yeah, so wahrhaft, but you could, in a different context, use each of these as an adjective too. Und das neue Gebäude wächst verhältnismäßig schnell. This is one of my favorite words. Verhältnismäßig. It's one of those words that looks so German. It looks so German. And then when you get comfortable with words like this and you just spit them out while speaking, people are very impressed. The new building is rising relatively rapidly. So relativ, that's why maybe this word is so impressive, because it means relativ. We had relativ right here, right? Relativ, it means relatively. And verhältnismäßig also means relatively. You can literally do one, or you can switch them out, and they mean the same thing. You could say, das neue Gebäude wächst relativ schnell. Totally works. But, relativ is the loan word from the Latin origin. And then verhältnismäßig is from the Germanic origin. So you can choose the short version or the long version. Yeah. The new building is rising relatively rapidly. So yeah, relatively, verhältnismäßig. And then die neuen Einwohner ziehen ebenso schnell in die Häuser ein. The new residents move into the houses equally rapidly. Yeah, ebenso schnell. Equally rapidly. Okay. So we have German adverbs used in the positive or comparative forms never take an ending. So we have, for example, positive just means like the standard form, and then comparative means more, like faster, better, whatever it is. Yeah. So we have, arbeitet gut. When they say a positive, that's just like normal adjective. Arbeitet gut. He works well. That's an adverb, well. But then seine Arbeit ist gut. His work is good. So see how gut modifies working here? That's well. But now gut is referring back to the noun, and when you describe a noun, that's got to be an adjective. Das Auto fährt schneller. The car drives faster. So now, how does the car drive faster? So the driving is what's being described. So the car drives more quickly, faster. Yeah, faster is still an adverb in English as well. Fastlier is not a word, yes. So, mein Auto ist schneller, my car is faster, ich fahre das schnellere Auto. So here we have that same thing, but in adjective form, and so it's all the same here. Schneller, schneller. We do have an ending here just because it's right before it's noun, so it's an adjective ending. But this one, mein Auto ist schneller, my car is faster, versus my car drives faster, no change. Die unglaublich schöne Geschichte, the unbelievably beautiful story. So now we have unglaublich is an adverb modifying schöne. So the adverb modifying the adjective, and then die unglaubliche schöne Geschichte, which is a slightly different meaning. It's not that the story is unbelievably beautiful, but that it's both unbelievable and beautiful. So, and you can sort of tell because unglaublich is now being used as an adjective. It's got an adjective ending. Yeah, so very subtle difference in meaning, but it's good to be able to recognize. Okay, so adverbs in a German sentence generally follow the main verb and then precede all the other objects you might want to use. Die Architekten überprüfen regelmäßig die Baupläne, and then the English would be the architects check the blueprints regularly. So you can see how that word order is different. So überprüfen, check. And if you translated it word for word, it would be the architects check regularly the blueprints. So in general, the direct object comes after all of that stuff. So that sounds wrong in English. Yeah. The architects regularly check the blueprints. You could also say in English. Yeah. When a German sentence begins with an adverb or adverbial phrase, translate the adverb or phrase first, then the subject, and then the verb. Yeah. And then most English adverbs end in ly, but not always. But that's one way to recognize adverbs in English. And so then this is actually quite useful and widespread in German more than in English, I think. All adjectives can be used as nouns in German. They're called adjectival nouns. They're nouns that come from adjectives, nouns that are derived from an adjective situation. So yeah, they are more common in German than in English. Germans use these a lot. So in English, we might say the old, the rich, the Irish, right? And you can see like the old, well, old's an adjective, but here you put that article in front of it. It's got to be a noun. We only use articles with nouns, right? So we do this a little bit in English, but in German they do it in ways that would sound maybe a little weird in English. So German adjectival nouns, as can be seen in the table below, they can refer to people, and they're masculine and feminine, such as der Alte, the old man. The old, it's it's just there's masculine and old in there, so you don't have to say the Mann part. It's just kind of left out. Die Reiche, like it shows that it's feminine, and then you've got the adjective, so it implies the rich woman. Die Deutschen, the Germans, the nationality ones do kind of match up with, because we use those. It's both an adjective and a noun in English as well. Die Deutschen, the Germans, versus German as an adjective. And abstract concepts, in which case they're neuter. So das Gute und das Böse, the good and the evil. Or das Schöne, that which is beautiful. Yeah. So masculine, der Alte, ein Alter. So the tricky thing about these is that they change their endings. Normally the nouns wouldn't change endings like this, but the reason is because they come from adjectives. So they change their endings in all the same ways that a normal adjective would take endings. So that's why it's another reason it's good to know the adjective endings, because then you can understand what's going on with these nouns that are used coming from their adjective form. So der Alte, remember that was our adjective ending with the E, and then ein Alter with the ER, because that's how that adjective ending matches up, right? And then they're going to be all the same ones that you would expect based on those adjective endings we already learned. Yeah. So then we have some, and then they go through all the different noun cases the same way, right? So if the adjective ending would be en, like in the dative or in the genitive, it's always going to take all those same endings. So these are a little hard to wrap your brain around at the beginning. I think you have to just look at a bunch of examples to understand these. And then plural forms are quite common. So das Institut für Behinderte bietet Hilfe für Alte und Junge. The Institute for the Disabled. Yeah, so it's like, it doesn't have an article here, but it's referring to like plural people. And then für Alte und Junge, old and young people. So you can see, since they're nouns now, they've been capitalized, obviously. So that's how you can recognize that it's not just a regular adjective, because it's been capitalized. Adjectives are not normally capitalized, but now they're adjectives turned nouns, and they are capitalized. And then we have, this happens a lot with these indefinite pronoun situations. So, for example, you could say, nichts Schwieriges, nothing difficult. And so nichts, viel, wenig, and etwas, nothing, a lot, or much, a little, or few, and then etwas, meaning something. So you can do any combination of these plus an adjective, and because it's a neuter situation, so it's always going to have this es at the end. Because it turns into a neuter. And then it's going to be capitalized as well, because now it's a noun. So nothing difficult. Viel Interessantes, much that is interesting. A lot of interesting stuff, right? Wenig Wesentliches, little of consequence. Yeah, this one's wesentlich means essential or substantial. So you could also say like little substantial, little that is substantial, little that is essential. A little of consequence is a little bit of a loose translation, but wesentlich, means like having substance. And then etwas Wichtiges, something important. Wichtig means important, and so we've capitalized to make it a noun, and then whenever they follow these words, the es. Sometimes literal translation resulted in stilted or incorrect English, so sometimes you have to be a little more creative. Yeah. So one example is Das Unheimliche by Sigmund Freud. Whenever I read about, adjectives turn nouns, of course I think about the 1919 essay by Sigmund Freud called Das Unheimliche. So here I have a little bit of the first page of Das Unheimliche. You can see this is all capital here, so you can't really see that it's capitalized. But if you look to the beginning of the second paragraph, he says, Ein solches ist das Unheimliche. So you see das Unheimliche, the uncanny, and it comes from this adjective unheimlich, and then it has the capital U, the uncanny, he says. Yeah. So you can read through this, and I think that's the main one I wanted to point out. I have a bunch of these. So basically this is the uncanny. Uncanny is an adjective, but then he's made a noun out of it and said the uncanny. What is the uncanny? That's the whole point of the essay, is like to define what is the uncanny, right? So the exercise I have for you is I have found some passages from Freud's essay Das Unheimliche, and he uses these adjectival nouns all the time. So anytime, most of these nouns right here are going to be nouns that came from adjectives. So this will be a fun way for you to translate because it's a little tricky and you might have to get a little creative. So you just look up like schreckhaft. This is an adjective that you will find in the dictionary, right? And so you find whatever that means, schreckhaft, and then you would say I'll just say, this means frightening. Schreckhaft is frightening. So you would say the frightening, not just frightening as adjective, but as a noun. So the uncanny belongs to the category of the frightening. So what is the frightening? What is the uncanny? Yeah. So this is full of stuff like that. So that's what I have for you for that unit. I hope it is fun for you to translate Freud, und wir sehen uns im nächsten Video. Tschüss, bis bald.